As a family doctor, I talk to patients and their parents often about weight issues. Thinking about weight, nutrition, and exercise is an important part of most people's healthy lifestyle goals. Not only that, we know that our kids also need to learn about healthy choices. Kids have to build good habits around food choices, portion sizes, and daily exercise, or they won't have the tools they need to grow up fit and strong. Their choices, even in elementary school, will not only create lifelong habits, but we know that kids this age can easily gain an unhealthy amount of weight that begins a lifelong struggle with fitness, low self-esteem, and the risk of serious illness from a very young age. And as a mom of 4 kids, I know what a struggle it can be to keep track of what and how much our kids eat each day, and that as they get to be school-aged, it quickly becomes impossible to monitor every bite of food they put in their mouths. But as a youth development expert, I know that's okay, because policing their intake is not the best way. Actually, it's one of the worst ways to teach those healthy habits we want them to have. While our children are little, it makes total sense to supervise exactly what they eat and how much. Even at the same time, while we have conversations with them about what healthy choices look like and why we pick the menu that we pick. But as our kids get older, we have to reframe the conversation, and we help them most when we focus on 3 areas. Number 1, discuss food as fuel. Many of us were taught to think about food as a privilege or a reward, like the idea behind every Jewish holiday. They tried to kill us. We survived. Let's eat. Or were you raised with the idea that you should finish your food because there are children starving in other countries? Were you told you could only have dessert if you finished your dinner? Would going out for ice cream or some other treat often be suggested as a reward for good behavior or good grades? All of those are pretty usual experiences and understandable parenting strategies. Unfortunately, we're starting to learn that they set kids up for a weird relationship with food. The healthiest way to talk to our kids about food is by comparing it to what it actually is, which is fuel for our bodies. Our bodies are important and finely tuned to respond best to the healthiest choices for what we put into them. How do we create those habits? By talking to our kids about content and quantity and connecting those 2 ideas with the best performance of our bodies. Do you read labels or nutritional information on menus? Then read those with your kids and talk about why you make the choices that you do. Do you serve meals onto plates before setting plates on the table instead of eating family style to help control portions? Or do you follow the government recommendations of making sure that half the plate is vegetables and only 1/4 is protein and 1/4 is starch? Then point that out regularly to your kids. Remind them that these are the proportions our bodies need to work the best. And ask them about their own food choices and why they're choosing the fuel that they are for their own bodies. Which brings us to the second area where we can really help our kids understand how to be healthy. Talk about the incredible abilities of our bodies. Children are great at using their bodies to their fullest abilities. Younger kids use their bodies constantly, and as a matter of fact, when Olympic athletes were asked to follow toddlers around and mimic all of their actions, the athletes said it was a better workout than their usual regimens. But as kids get older, we often have to work hard to encourage them to keep being really active. And those conversations sometimes turn into shameful or frustrating interactions for kids and for parents. Don't talk to your kids about exercise as a means of controlling weight. Talk to kids about being active as the way to be fit or strong or healthy. It's absolutely true that the only way to make muscles stronger or bodies healthier is to use them. Which leads pretty directly to the third thing we have to do to help our kids have the best shot at being fit, healthy adults. And that is, be the adults we want our kids to be someday. This is like the hardest, worst part of parenting, right? We have to actually model the behaviors that we hope to someday see in our kids. Even harder, when it comes to food and eating and exercise, it's becoming more and more clear that our words have tremendous power throughout our kids' lives. There are recent studies that show that when parents use words to or even near their kids, like weight and dieting, it leads to teenagers who are much more likely to have dangerous eating behaviors like we see in bulimia and anorexia, and worse body image and dangerously low self-esteem. So when we're talking about weight loss, we need to think about it differently. If you're working on weight loss for yourself in order to be healthier, that's wonderful. But remember, around your kids, even if you're not talking to them, to use words like trying to be healthier, more fit, stronger, active. That way we can build kids who will be healthy for a lifetime.